are aware of Rocky Marciano, of course, but not a whole lot of people are aware that he trained in his early years in Easton. And we're pleased to have someone with us here today who was a sparring partner and a great boxer in his own right, Bob Wood, and also Larry Hurley, whose family was intimately involved with Rocky as well, and have to make some remarks about their memories, their experiences, and I hope you answer any questions that might come up.
Should we start with questions, or should it might make it easier for me. But I want to say this, thank you, for sure. It's really great to be here. My childhood, I spent a lot of time outside watching the troop trains go by in the 40s, then going to the boxing, but then going louder.
Yes.
By the way, excuse me, this is my wife, my dear wife, Lynn. She's a tennis star. She was a tennis star. She did some really good. I want to say I enjoyed waiting for the guys going to the war, World War II going by here. The trains were rushing by, and the chiclet. Gum machine in the corner. One of my favorite places. Is this okay? I guess it is. Boxing started early. The plant was seeded early when I got beat up my front lawn. Vernon Gustafson, I'm going to name some names. Asked me if I want to learn how to box, and that's where the seed was planted. And he showed me and all that. I guess if I should tell you about my first punching bag, they call them sandbags. So my dad was working at Plymouth Rubber over there in Canton, and I got some leather in it, and I made a bag about like this, and around like that, hung up in the tree. Took one punch and filled it up with sand, and that was the only time I hit it. It was just like a rock. So I found out later in life that you put sawdust in these bags. And you pounded it down. That's so. I have played football, and I know you're going to say something about your brother. When's that going to happen? But anyway, I'm a little quicker then. Yeah. So football season was over, so I went uptown. I lived up here in North Main Street, walked by here many times, but okay. Uptown, I got on the bus, went over the YMCA, went to the desk, and a fellow named, I asked Nick at the desk, is there anybody here I can go teach me how to box? So he sent me up to fire station, Central Fire Station in Brockton, and we ended up between 2 fire trucks, and he asked me all kinds of questions. I asked, Art Bergman was my trainer, and
how old were you when you did that?
Well, I was 17.
And you weren't legal to don't go and fight.
I forged my birth certificate. You had to be 18. So I trained just stepping in, and then I kept begging, my manager to put me into a fight, and I found out for a right cross. So at that particular time, I met Larry played football and all that. But anyhow, from there I kept asking, and then finally, before I was 18, all these, what I'm about to say is before I was 18, these fights occurred, my first 6 fights. 47, that was 47. I was 17, so I always could remember when my birthday was, kind of. Okay, anyway, I'll get off of that. I fought a Marine, my very first fight. I'm 17. This guy's 24 years old. That was my first fight, and I didn't win it. The second fight, I'm in the New Englands, the AAU, and Rocky was fighting as a I should have brought Rocky up sooner, but anyways, Rocky won the New England's and all the titles you could win that particular fall.
Who was your trainer?
Arthur Bergman.
And what did he do?
He was a firefighter. Thank you. Where was I?
The New England.
Yeah, I was going into my first few fights, and I lost my first two fights. I lost in the New Englands. We came out back home in Brockton. I won somebody. I finally knocked somebody out, and they put me in a 5-round special, 500 2-rounds special, way back then, and I beat the kid again. I'll call him a kid. No. Boy named, yeah, never mind his name. But, and then the fifth fight was in the Olympic trials. And, you know, I'm just starting out, 5 fights up in the Olympic trials. And I won the first fight. And I got smashed up so bad that, that going in, you know, with a bloody nose and all that, going into a fellow that, his name was McIntyre. He went to Harvard, and, I understood he had 150 fights, and it's my 6th fight. Well, my 5th and 6th fight. Well, it was my 6th fight. I won the first fight. So that's how it all started. I was TKO'd. I've only been TKO'd once or twice on stopping a fight. And that was one of the times the nose kept bleeding and they stopped it. So what can I think forward to here? I sparred with Rocky many times in the exercise room in Hawaii. They had a big heavy bag there. My first time, excuse me, this is the way I should have started this thing. The first time I got into a square ring was with Rocky Marciano. We had an exhibition in Stoughton. They asked me to be on it. It was I won a couple rounds and somebody else won a couple rounds in an exhibition. I have been in 3 exhibitions. This was not planned, but I had 42 amateurs and 8 professional fights. And I won most of them. Let's put it that way. 2/3, 1/3. But there was I was very honored to be able to talk today about being in the first time I ever got in the ring was with Rocky. I fought in his card twice as a pro. When he fought Kane Simmons and Johnny Pretzi at the Garden. In fact, I fought a fellow by the name of Jack Brennan in the Garden.
Go ahead.
So, Rocky, that was Rocky's kind. It was all the card for that day. I should mention that Alan Turner was on it. Alan Turner was national arm wrestling champ, and they have to be in the same group of guys with those. What's the thought I was going to say?
Oh, Vegas, yeah. In Vegas.
Caesar's Palace was a greeter at Caesar's Palace, and I won Colina. And as soon as I heard he was doing that, I called up, got tickets to go to Vegas with my dear wife. We went to Vegas a few times, huh? So we met him. We met him in the tables, and I went up to him and I said, "Hi, Joe, it's sure glad to meet you." And I said, "We have something in common." And we had the cousin of Marciano. And he steps back and he says, "Oh, we lost a good friend." So those guys saw each other, but and he started talking about Barbara, his wife. I'm pretty sure that was her name. And going up to Russ Murray's, Barbara, they'd be up the pool, and one time I sparred with Rocky in that square ring. And I can remember Rocky hitting me right in here and knocking the wind out of me. He never knew it. He never knew it. I got by and I recovered somehow. And he hit me right in here. It's no fun getting the wind like that either.
Louder, louder,
Louder?
louder.
Ooh. So where do we go from here? I won at Dilboy Field. They had fights. I had probably most of my fights in Dilboy Field. They had a junior New England titles, and I won the light heavyweight one year and the heavyweight next year. I had the opportunity to win the sectional tournament. It was Southern Rhode Island and Southern Massachusetts and Rhode Island Championship, which qualified me to the Tournament of Champions. I fought another Marine, and they built this guy up. They tried to scare me before me at 220. I was 220 and 6 foot, so you know how many inches, I don't know, but I had to think about that, but it put it aside. Well, that was the only fight I ever hit the canvas. I took a swing, a left hook at him, and I went around, I missed him, and went around and landed on my back. And rose. The crowd got kind of excited about that, but I got up and I won the fight. So anyway, that was semifinals. It didn't do too well. In fact, in the finals, it followed by the Jack Brennan beat me in the finals. And Larry knows this gentleman. His name is Brennan. And a real tough guy.
Yeah.
Real tough man. Was he older than me? I don't know. I was so young.
He's older than you.
Yeah. I fought him also in the pros, and he beat me in the pros again. Second to last fight. So anyhow, I want to tell you about Charlie Turner, one of the Golden Glove fights I had. In Upper Low Sun, they have an auditorium. They have 5,000 people, but the dressing room is the basketball court next door, and that's our dressing room. We were all in there, and I saw this big black guy, shiny black. I hope I can say that. Looked like Joe Louis Plus out there shadow boxing, and I'm wondering who he is. So I asked my manager. He said no. But when we got into the ring, this is my best fight. There he was in the other corner, and it was a big gulp, I guess, and knew, wow, what's going to happen tonight? And I always wondered when we were going to get rid of him, knocked out, but anyways, he almost did it in the first round. It happened to be the last fight of the night. We were the last fight of the night, and he really hit me hard with left hooks, one after. And people were leaving the arena. So I got back in my corner and I sat down, and my trainer told me what to do. He was hitting me with a lot of left hooks, and a right cross would fix that all up for myself. Well, I did what he told me to do. I threw the right cross, and the guy goes down. In fact, that's the picture. Looks my back too. I don't see it really. He's in there falling down. I did knock him down again. But anyways, after that, everybody started coming back, and just what they told me, came back into the arena, and one of what, everybody, you couldn't hear the bell ring after the second round. So, a lot of this is what was told to me after the fight. I'm, trying to fight for my life. So the third round was similar, but not as much, because we were both getting kind of tired, I guess. And I knocked him down again, and I won that decision, which was the worst and toughest fight I ever had. He really clobbered me in the first round. I think anybody else would have, I don't know. But anyhow, 42 fights, 8 pros, 3 exhibitions. The exhibitions were probably doing for whatever the, it was for, you know, try to get a word out here, I can't find it. But anyway, I was happy to do that for them. But okay, let me tell you about Rocky one time. Rocky's going to fight Kane Simmons, not Kane Simmons, oh gosh. I'm losing it on that, what's his name?
Down.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Keep going, Bobby, you're doing well.
He's trying to remember the
See
first
that?
Help him out, give him a couple of
Where in
names.
Boston? Is it Boston, your Bobby?
I got a good right now.
Gino Bondino,
No,
for sure,
ready for sure.
very for sure.
We
You were on that card in
I wasn't
Boston.
ready, but that was the time that all the Rocky guys fought in Boston. And I'm quite sure that was Rocky's fight for sure to go.
Right, you did, the guy.
I was inspired with, for sure, Freddie for sure. I probably should have mentioned a couple of guys that Peter Fuller, I inspired with him. He was a wrestler and in Harvard, I guess he went to Harvard.
Son of the ex-governor.
Trying to think of the fellow that, Rocky come walk, maybe it'll come to me. Rocky came walking out of the shower. Al Nolan was on the store at the YMCA, and they used to go, he used to give Rocky the full massage, and asked me to come in and do my shoulders, because they were kind of hard and tough. Hard, you know, to massage them. We did that. One time Rocky comes out of the shower room with his robe around him, comes out of the shower and go around and asks me how we fight. Kane Simmons wants to come up there, it's not what it was. But this is a main bout. He's a pro then. And anyhow, asked me on a Sunday morning to spar with him on Sunday morning. And I had a date, excuse me, man. I had a date that afternoon. And, well, anyway, I ended up sparring with Rocky that morning. I think, where are you?
Yep,
You saw that day when Sunday
5
morning.
years old, or what, 4 or 5. I remember it.
Yeah, I didn't know I did what you told me, but I said what I did. But anyway, it was a good sparring session, and helped him out. So a long time after all the fights going on, I ended up here, I guess, and went to my trainer's home later on, after quite a bit of time after it, at Arthur's house with Mary, and she is a nice Italian. She was Italian, and okay, she made spaghetti, and then the sauce came, and then the meatballs came, and again, same thing over and over again. So, but while I was there, I think it's one of those compliments I got was this other gentleman that was at a luncheon there, actually it was dinner, and said to me that I helped Rocky Marciano to the championship.
Beautiful.
And I never thought of that way, but it was, I think it's son of a lawyer over there in Rocky. Anyways,
What about Rocky Jr. there?
oh yeah. I had all kinds of ways to start this, and Rocky Jr. when he was at the occasion of his statue over there in Brockton High School. I met Rocky Jr. and he said to me, "Tell me something about my father." And I hope I said, I don't remember what I said to him now, but I hope what I said here was some of the things I told him about his father. Rocky, I like what Cholo said about him. I wish I had a real closer relationship with Rocky, but he was 7 years older than me. You know anybody else that's 7 years older than me?
She'll be sparring with you later.
I've lost that fight already. this is a real pleasure, and,
Did Rocky ever knock you down?
no, I never got knocked down.
Did you
There's
ever
a
knock-
question
Did you ever
mark.
knock Rocky down?
No, someone, that kind of rumor like that around, no,
That was your
absolutely
name,
not.
sorry.
I made him teed off at me one time in the handball court sparring with him. He didn't, Harvey didn't like to get hit in the right
No, he
hand.
didn't.
And this fellow was known to, I can't remember his name, is known to have a great, he was, I seen him take with a fight later, and just a few years ago. Got a right hand right in there. Okay, I think I done it, and I appreciate being here. Oh, question?
Yes, of course.
When was the time that you decided you didn't want to fight anymore? How old were you and when was that?
Same thing.
I had my last fight in '53 when I got drafted, and Sonny helped
We both went in together.
and it was the winter before, the summer before, because it was November, the day after Thanksgiving, right? In the Marine Corps. We both got picked, out of 150 guys, we both got picked, with a couple others there for the Marine Corps. It was super fun.
So you never wanted to fight after that? You never
Yeah, I
wanted-
did. I wanted to fight while I was in there.
Yeah.
They didn't want to have anything to do with the Marine. While I was in the Marines, went to see a fellow by the name of Stanley, and I'm standing too long here.
Sit down, sit down, you got a chair.
Chair right behind you.
Right behind you.
I don't know if I can do that. Okay. Yeah, a fellow by the name of Stanley, I went to the, I guess it was at the Y there, or a boxing gym, and he said, you can make a lot of money, he said, but you'll never be champion. That's what he told me. So anyhow, the money part sounded nice, but that's what he told me. His name was Stanley. He had a lot to do with boxing out in LA. He was in LA. I was out at Camp Pendleton, and I went to LA quite a bit on Liberty. So, is there another question?
I have one question, if I could. You were going to be sparring with Rocky Marciano. Did anybody try and talk you out of that?
No.
Okay.
But when I first started boxing, should I tell that story about my mom calling up the priest?
Oh, yes.
About the law. To talk me out of it, and I didn't know this till just recently. What happened, and they said, well, he might get knocked down, whatever, you'll forget all about it. Well, I guess I fooled them, but, yeah, thank you, that brought me back to that thought, and I just learned about that. So,
Sit down.
good job. Sit down.
Yes.
I'll turn it over to Larry Hurley now.
Sit down.
Why don't you just sit there? Just stay there. There you go.
Bobby and I go back a long way, high school. He was an end, I was a tackle. Tough kid. Playing Mansfield, and he broke the kid's leg, remember that?
I'd go
There
him,
was something happening,
I'd go him and remind him
they
of
took
it
me out of the game,
one day.
they set me down, one of the few times, go ahead, you tell us.
Then we played, after high school, we played for the Huskies. Remember down in Plymouth? You were,
Yes.
remember the, you played in the end zone, and they threw you the touchdown, we beat them 27-0 or something like that. But Bobby talks about this kid Brennan that he fought. His real name was Pete Kachuk. He came from Charlestown. He lived on the same street that we lived on when we lived in Charlestown. He fought under the name of Brennan. We didn't bump into him again till Marciano was going to fight Gino Bonvino in Boston. And back then, Marciano had won every fight, of course, but Al Weil was his manager, and a guy by the name of Goldman was his trainer. Well, they never came up to Brockton while he was fighting all these guys down in Rhode Island, and they never bothered much with him until this fight he had with the Italian champion. His name was Gino Bombino. Well, they didn't send up any sparring partners for Rocky. So anybody that was around, he wanted them to be a sparring partner. So my brother Ken worked out with him and sparred with him for 3 years. Now this was the 2nd year. He used to come by the house and we'd go up to Russ Murray's on Howard Street. So then Russ he had a nice place up there, the swimming pool, tennis courts, and he had an outdoor ring. Well, when Marciano got coming up, he had a building built right on his property there, and the building is still there. And he put the ring inside this building. Well, now he had 3 sparring partners getting ready for this fight in Boston with Gino Bombino. Bobby Wood, Ken Hurley, and this kid by the name of Brennan, whose name is Pete Kachuk. Now, you've heard that name not too long ago. Anybody that's interested in sports, this kid that plays for the National Hockey League, who is his nephew. So they spelled it, they start out with a T, Tikachuk. It's what it sounds like, but the name is Kachuk. So the time that Bobby's talking about, Marciano hit him a shot and he knocked the wind out of him. He lost, if anybody knocked Marciano down, my brother Ken did that day. And I was up there one day after that, and you know, I'd always box with Bobby, my brother Ken, my brother Ben, and you know, I was a lot smaller than they were. So Marciano's mother-in-law and father-in-law are there. I'm working out, hitting a heavy bag, and just, you know, getting a good workout. So his mother-in-law says to me, "Would you get in the ring with him?" I said, "Yeah, sure." You know, he got nothing to it. Put the head guard on. And Rocky was a nice guy. He'd see you in Brockton. "Hi, Larry. How's your father? How's Kenny? How's Vinny? How's the family? Everything going good?" Nice guy. I got in that ring with him. He come at me. He wanted to kill me. I said, this isn't good for me. I'm about 155 pounds and he weighs 185, 90 pounds. He comes after me like I'm the enemy. I said, I did a lot of running around that night. One round. I took that helmet off of the headgear and put it down. I said,
I surrender.
"Thank you." And walked away. But he's just a nice guy. And the thing that it always bothered me, and I mentioned this before to a lot of people in Brockton that are friendly and have a lot to do with rock. They never mention Easton. They never mention Russ Murray's place. And the 7 miles that they always mention that his workout was a 7-mile run and this and that. The 7 miles was from his house to Murray's house over on Howard Street. And he was always there, because you get in the pool and he'd be punching under the water and he'd doing the jump ropes and hitting a heavy bag, and he'd be over there for hours. And the trainer around here, Ali Colombo, was a nice guy. Bobby worked out with him, you know, how many times? Many times. And he was a tough kid. He was a tough Rocky. Once you get in the ring, there was no friends. He didn't care who you were. He'd kill you. He'd want to kill you. And I learned that the hard way. And that was enough for me. My brother Ken was, when he went in the Army, he was the heavyweight champ up at Fort Dix. And then he went into the Lowell Golden Gloves, and he was the heavyweight. This was 1950, 51 or 52, around there. that he was the heavyweight champ of the Lowell Golden Gloves. When he got out, I was in the career at the time now, he just started fighting amateur and he lost. He won 3 times, then he was down in New Bedford for the championship and he got split decision, he lost. So Kenny said that was enough. He didn't want any more to do with any fighting or anything like that. But that, you know, Bobby kept on going and Kenny just gave it up. Another time, we were in gym. I was a senior. We were just right after football season. You know, we had a coach, Tom Aldrich. He was the football coach. He was here for 1 year. And he got boxing gloves. So he was a gym teacher. So we get in the gym and he had us, you fight him. So you just box and this and that and the other thing. So I boxed with Mel Holmes. And that was for 5 minutes or something like that. Then he says, Bobby Woods, right him. He hit me a shot and knocked me, pardon my French, right in my ass. He did. I went over. I remember it. I could see the ceiling. Bingo. Bobby, I said, I never knew you fought. To this day, he said, I'm sorry about that. But that was the way things happened, and it was just a lot of fun. But you know, it was that boxing is boxing, and you win some, you lose some. But some of these pictures here are about Rocky. And another thing that bothers me, nothing's ever mentioned, and I keep saying this over and over again, but now there should be something, because the next time a book comes out from the Historical Society, I'm sure they'll mention something about Rocky and working out at Russ Murray's place in Easton, and we get the pictures to prove it. And there's an article over here where, oh, here it is here, where Sam Silverman was the promoter in Boston, and Kenny was getting ready for this. My brother Ken was getting ready for this fight down in New Bedford, and who was over here, the sparring partner, Kenny's sparring partner, this time was Rocky. So they were all good friends, but I have some more memorabilia from Rocky. I got a Christmas card from him, and it's addressed Hurley family, Southeastern. That's all it said on the envelope. I said, I still got it. They got a picture of it someplace. But he was just a nice guy, and it was a real shame that he passed away that way in the airplane. But always good things about Rocky. They are running. Yeah. There's a guy that Bobby mentioned a little while ago. His name was Johnny Pritzi. Marciano beat him twice, and I knew him well. He worked on the track. He's not a real cuckoo. He got killed in a bar in South Boston. Somebody shot him. But he was a strange guy. Yeah. Yeah. Tough guy. He walked around down the track like he was an Indian. He had a feather in his hat and his head and a bandana. The bandana around his head with a feather in it. Walking around down there, and you know, Russ Murray he had a lot of people on the payroll, and during when the track was running, a lot of fighters that he'd have on the payroll. Rocky was on the payroll while the track was running, and he had basketball players. He had some of the Celtics, He had, they used to, you always see these guys, they had a Brinks truck. Tuesday night was pay night down the track. If you worked there, there'd be, I don't know, probably 50, 60, 70 people that worked behind the windows and so forth. And they paid you in cash. And there'd be a line like from here to the door, getting paid. Tuesdays, when there'd be a line 5 times as long, when these people are on the payroll getting their pay. That was Russ Murray. That was the way he was. He put a lot of people on the payroll, especially athletes and fighters, basketball players, anybody that was popular around Boston and around here. So, but that's the type of guy he was, and it's a shame that it's never mentioned in any books or anything that's ever written about Rocky. So that's about it that I have. Any questions?
Okay, comment on one thing?
Let's have Rocky.
This-
Wait a minute. We'll do that again. Perfect. The shaking of the hands is the neatest thing. Sorry. Okay, thank you.
I don't know whether it's supposed to. We're scrimmaging in high school football, and, and Larry's on we're banging heads together, and I can remember one time, you don't remember this, I bet you do remember it, that, you can do this, and scrimmage, right?
Right.
And he did, and I think I can hit the hardest from Larry. Can I call you Angel?
Yeah.
So
That was my Angel.
we're going at each other, and all of a sudden, wham, right against my face. And I said, you can remember doing that.
Oh, yeah. I did it for everybody. No, that was, you could do that. You had to hold your hands in your chest, and you could use your forearms. You could use your forearm, but you can't do that now. And that's what I used to do. And you didn't have any face mask then. I used to do that, and I tried to hit it right in the chin. And it worked, because we had a pretty good team.
We did back then. I was very complimented when Tuck told me, we were in Boston, I were in football, but your brother was quite a football player.
Yeah, he was all state.
He was the
Kenny was
best in
the
the area.
first all-scholastic that ever come out of Easton. He was his sophomore and junior year, he was honorable mentioned in the Boston papers because the Enterprise didn't have an all-scholastic back then. And the senior year, he was all-scholastic from the Globe. And that's quite he was on the same all-scholastic team as Balascato. He was from Concord. So they had that when Moscato came to Easton, that he had, of course he met Kenny, and they were on, as I said, they were on the same football team. Kenny went on to, he went to prep school at Romford, then he went up to Notre Dame, and the athletic director, they said, bring your transcript, you mark your transcript. So Kenny flies out to Notre Dame at their expense, and Moose Krause was the athletic director at Notre Dame. And he said, let me see your transcript. Right at the airport.
Who's in that?
He shows his transcript and he says, kid, he said, if you had one deficiency, we could take you, but he said, you got two. So he said, come on, we'll take you for a ride around the campus. So he drove around the campus, and the football team was already practicing. This is in the summer. He said, I never saw so many cars with beer in it. all of the players, they drank a lot of beer even back then. So Kenny didn't get to Notre Dame, but he went to prep school, and he got a full scholarship at Wake Forest. So that's when Kenny ended up at Wake Forest, and he finally graduated from Stonehill. He didn't stay at Wake Forest to graduate, but he finally went to Stonehill after he became a police officer here in Easton.
Did you get a full scholarship to Wake Forest?
Yeah, full scholarship, yeah.
My daughter, we have a granddaughter that graduated from Wake Forest.
That's the new,
And she's in England teaching today,
well, that's good.
in London.
That was Kenny was at the old campus, and they built a new campus in Winston-Salem, I guess. Isn't that where it is? That's the new campus, yeah. But a lot of kids from Easton have done pretty well, athletically and otherwise, so. Right, Bob? Right?
Right, well, thank you.
And to thank our special guests, terrific to hear this history, and we definitely want to write some stuff up on this before more people forget this. We want to raise the awareness. This is a great part of the town's history. Absolutely needs to be told more. So thank you both very much.
Another thing, Paul Marciano used to have a lot of the fighters lived right up in that house in the corner. And Paul was interested in boxing, and he had some of those fighters that they were on his payroll, and they lived right there across the street from the garage.
Yeah, the Trainers were involved as well, and we're going to get some information from them and work more of this up and tell a more complete story. Definitely. So thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank members of the Wood family for everything they brought today, the refreshments as well. They coordinated that, especially Butch and Vale. And Larry for bringing this up in the first place, and that we can do something with this and providing so much information here.
One other thing, and this isn't to do with boxing, but I brought a picture up of the Olive Range High School 1949 basketball team. They won the South Shore Jamboree, the South Shore tournament. That was the finals. That was like Class A in this whole South Shore. And I got the picture of and I left it with Hazel. It's a picture of the banquet that they had for that team. And I think I mentioned that the last time I was here, there was the kids that were on that team. Eddie Conceition, the center, Joe Conley, and Tommy Buckley were the guards, and Donnie Christensen and Bobby Coleman were the forwards. And I think they beat Middleborough for the championship. That team should be on the Hall of Fame, and they did win something. So. I hope somebody will write a letter to the Hall of Fame people and send them this picture and say, proof.
Thank you.
I might comment that all the boxers in the area bought their cars from Paul Marciano.
Right.
Paul Marciano was a great friend of the boxing world, Russ Murray, etc. And it would be amazing. You walk along Main Street and you would see some of the great athletes, not just boxers, but primarily boxers.
Basketball players.
Basketball particularly.
Well, he used to bring the kids, remember the
Right.
He used to have the bus and bring the kids into
The Red Sox
ball game.
games.
Yeah.
But it's interesting the role Paul Marciano played,
Yeah.
because they got the cars at cost.
Well, thank you all very much, and thank you for singing for us today.
Yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And enjoy the rest of the afternoon.